Good morning, it's nearly sunrise. It gets light about 8ish, between 7:30 and 8 at the moment in Spain, so it's still an hour out from the UK. We're going to head out this morning into Valencia. Now, we tried to use, as we've done previously when we've been here, to use bikes. As you probably picked up, we've been trying something called a buddy rider with Poppy. But so we sent her out on a final cycling proficiency test last night and it's not worked. She's got to an age now where she doesn't like being strapped into anything or held, and she just creates and wriggles like a pike on a line. So about 15 minutes, that's it. So we've abandoned the idea of the buddy rider. There'll be one for sale shortly when we get back from holiday. It's partly used. Great piece of kit, really good quality, but not for our dog. So we are going to go and catch the train. Now, there's 3 ways you can get into Valencia if you're not going to bike. It's about 6 miles from this site. There's a metro tram. And the problem with there is, that's great if you've not got a dog. If you've got a small dog, the only way you can take them on the tram is inside a cage. Occasionally, we've got some knowledge of people who've managed to get away with it being inside a rucksack, but that's really at the discretion of the driver. And so this depends whether you want to risk getting into Valencia and not getting back. The next option is the train. There's a new thing this year with Renfe trains. Dogs can travel on Renfe trains, and that's quite a thing. It's about 1.5 miles away, and that's the option we're going to take. Or there's an option of a pet taxi, which will call you from reception. Now, that's quite a premium price, really. It's €30 each way, so €60 for the day plus a tip, I guess. We're not going to use that. We're going to try the train first, although if the train for some reason doesn't work, we might try it tomorrow, because we definitely want to go, all 3 of us, into Valencia. If for some reason the train doesn't work today or they don't let us on, I don't see why that would be the case, but we'll come back and I'll probably go in on my own on the bike today, and then we'll take it from there, because I want to go and do some photography around the Oceanic Centre. But yeah, so that's it really. We'll get packed up and we'll go and see what the train's like. We like travelling on trains, so it's pretty good. Poppy's well travelled on trains. Northern Europe, not a problem. She's been on trains in many countries, and undergrounds as well for that matter, and never batted an eyelid. Happy to wear a soft muzzle if required. That's not a problem. She's used to that. She just doesn't like being strapped in a seat. And yeah, interesting. So we're going to get packed up. We'll see you down at the railway station. So we set off from Nomadic Camping Car, where we're staying. If you're interested in a review of this, I'll put a link below from our last visit here. It's probably one of the better airs you'll come across. It's about a 2-mile, really delightful walk. We went early through the sunrise phase of the day and out towards the village adjacent to us, through the orange fields. It was really quite a nice time of the day. We like being up early, so it really wasn't a problem for us. And it wasn't long before we were at the station. Very helpful ticketing staff helped us get a ticket for us too. No ticket required for the dog.
Welcome to Valencia. This is the 3rd largest city out in the country outside of Madrid and Barcelona, and it sits on the River Tulia. It was founded by the Romans in 138 BC, then came the Muslims in 711 before the first Christian king, James I, reconquered the city in 1238. It's got one of the largest historical centres in the country. There's so many things to see and explore. Let's go and have a look.
One of the most striking places that you come across within 5 minutes of leaving the magnificent railway station is the city centre, or the square in the middle of the city. It's where the main Mascalata, the part of the Las Fallas festival, takes place. More on that in a bit. And on the approach to Cathedral, there's lots of bars and cafes to sit out and drink and enjoy Valencian culture.
Lucky enough to come to Valencia a few times, but if you'd have asked me a few years ago what I knew about Valencia, I'd have said oranges, the football team, and of course El Cid, but there's way more to it than that. In March in Valencia there's a festival called Las Fallas. It is a complete assault on all of your senses. It's a festival that celebrates the patron saint of carpenters, which is St. Joseph. Each of the regions of Valencia builds what's called a niño, which is a paper mache or wooden structure that's displayed in the city. And we'll put some pictures here just to show you. On the final night of the Fallas, there's something called La Crema, where all these niños are burnt, apart from 2 which have been saved by a public vote. If you're walking through the city during Las Fallas, you'll also see a lot of ladies, gentlemen and children all dressed in traditional dress. Again, we'll put some pictures here for you to have a look at. And they march to the square of the Virgin of the Forsaken, and they'll give an offering, which is generally a bunch of flowers. And when they get to the centre here, there's a 14-metre structure of the Virgin made of wood, and all the flowers become the mantle of her clothes. Again, here's a picture. So if you come to Las Fallas, and of course check out the tourist information before you get here, it's truly a spectacle. It's very busy, as you can imagine, and it's not for dogs. It's too noisy and it's too busy. But if you find yourself in Valencia in March, come and give it a go. You won't be disappointed.
We took a quiet walk through the streets, remembering to look upwards at the great traditional architecture, not just around the cathedral and the back of the cathedral that you can see in this shot, but around the side alleys and walkways. We got a glimpse of the cafe culture that existed that would open up at night, but also a sense of what Valencians were like, how they dressed, how they ate, how they felt, about issues of the day through chatting to them and getting to know them a little bit as we walked around. There's no doubt that the city has these magnificent plazas where you could just stand or sit and just take in the day. The weather is generally quite good here, and it's probably one of my favourite cities in Europe. It's difficult sometimes to split it down when you get to 2 or 3, but it really does stand out. There's just something about it, an atmosphere in this city that makes it one of the most rewarding cities to visit. In the centre of Valencia is this giant traditional market. We've not really seen anything like it since we were in Madrid. We had this wonderful time during the night at this market that opened up all night. It was fantastic. This was similar, although obviously this is in daytime. This big ornate hall, and once inside, loads and loads of different sorts of stalls and things to look at and things to buy. The ceilings were impressive. People were all well dressed and sort of really engaging with each other in a way that Valencian community does. Fine produce of all descriptions, something not to be missed if you come here, just to walk up and down the alleyways and see what's on offer and what's for sale. You're forced to make comparisons against what's available in Spain in the markets and shops as other places. But let's put it this way, for healthy food, wholesome food that your mother would appreciate, it's all here. And I'm pretty certain that it's good for your heart too. So a good half an hour, 45 minutes perusing around the market in the market area. We set off walking through the streets. We called it the Vodafone shop, where I bought a local data SIM. We can't be without internet. It's just something that can't happen for us. And then we came across this really strange to us ceremony, only on the basis that we didn't understand it and didn't really understand what was going off. But this certainly interesting thing to watch, where guys came out dressed, to be fair, quite regally in robes, and there were obviously some kind of committee, and we assumed, from what we can read rightly, that this is something to do with the start of the ceremony season in Valencia. It was quite interesting to watch. Some of the traditional dress worn by Valencian women was on show. We were able to get a couple of pictures which we were quite pleased about.
That's my idea nearly of heaven. That's like Haribo's on speed.
It is.
Look at those, wow. Oh, it's a bit like a pick and mix. You end up spending a fortune.
Having walked 10 miles, or at least that's what the Garmin and Fitbit have said, we decided that was enough for one day. We knew we had another day here. So it's time to make our way back towards the railway station across the centre of the city into this beautiful railway station. This is the ticket office. All these real, I guess, oak, pine, I don't know really what it's made of, but old traditional wood finish. Fantastic looking roof, old station clocks, you name it, it's here. But I really wanted to get back to photograph the actual station itself in black and white, where the light was in the right position to do this. And this is an example. This enables to create the traditional eeriness of the station, and I'm quite happy with the outcome. I hope you are too. We jumped on our train back to the local station, and then the 2 miles walk back to camping nomadic, or camping car nomadic, camping should I say. Time for a craft beer and a relax. So I was asked recently by a viewer about bike stands, and I put the bikes in the garage. So what I've got is 2 bike stands. And I've picked bike stands that have got really tall piece here that fixes around the tyre. And a little bit pinching there on that little bit of mudguard, but I'm not too worried about that because it's quite flexible, but it isn't a problem on this one. You can see it fits on the floor, and then what I do is tie it down with straps into the eyelets and stops it moving, and then just pack a little bit of something in between to stop the paintwork rubbing. Probably use a screen or a mat or something that I've got to do that. But that's how we run the bikes, and once it's all packed in, it won't move. And of course, what you can do with this then, and the idea of why I haven't permanently fixed them, is I can take them out and use them as a stand outside, and if there's something I can lock them to, then they can stay out and support the bikes. But they're actually quite a good piece of kit. About 19 quid each, I think, from Paul Cycles. Although they're local in Norfolk, they do have an online sales, and I'll put the details below. But that's work for us coming down here. They've not moved, and once I get them bolted in and everything packed around them, it's a good job. So hope that answers the question.